to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy, and my burden light. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
As I am sure many of you are aware, the world is sort of screwed up right now. And the ambient level of crazy, well, it's quite high. It's really high. It's epically high. And so let's just get this out there. This pandemic and the crises that it has created, the tensions, the mental health issues, the feelings of isolation, the lack of contact with loved ones and friends and family, they aren't going to disappear soon. This is going to be a long haul. I think a lot of us thought we were running a marathon. And then, well, here's how I imagine it. It feels like I was running a marathon, and then someone came over and whispered into my ear, "It's an ultra marathon." You know, one of those 100-milers. And I was like, what? And then they say, yeah, it's an ultra marathon. And then, after that, you're going to do an Ironman. You know, the one with the running, swimming, and cycling. And then, you know, maybe we'll add another ultramarathon sometime around Christmas or Thanksgiving. We're not quite sure yet, but we'll keep you posted. And then I'm like, you're still here? Go away. It's that exasperation, that sense of, this is much longer than I expected. The sort of what now that I preached about a few weeks ago. And that's how I hear these words from Jesus in the gospel. When I imagine Jesus saying, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy, and my burden light." And I want to respond, "Oh yeah, I bet it is, you lying son of God." We've seen the movies. We've read the books. There's a cross here. And still, I want to hear that. And I know so many of us, we need to hear that. My God, with every fiber of our hearts, we want to rest. But this nonsense about the yoke being easy and your burden light, yeah, Jesus, I think you have had a little too much of the new wine. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. My yoke is easy and my burden light. An interesting thing for us to note. Jesus didn't say no yoke. He definitely implied a yoke. And a yoke means work. We are tied to something. We are laboring with something. Try this on for size. Aside from the ambient levels of crazy nowadays, another theme I'm hearing from people is that this crisis has created an inflection point, a turning point, if you will. People are looking closely at things that seemed to matter. Jobs, hobbies, friendships, places and spaces where we poured our time and our energy. And some of those things have been found wanting. They lack the importance we had assumed or granted them. This time is causing us to ask, what am I yoked to? And our gospel today can invite us into some serious soul searching. Jesus didn't say no yoke or no work, no labor. No. That yoke, and let's be real honest here, it looks pretty much like a cross. And so we ask, how is that easy and light? Well, let's go back to that theme, that inflection point, that turning point, that reevaluation, that soul searching. Look at what's happening as we all reevaluate what actually gives our lives meaning and purpose, what fulfills us. There is a very serious, and I would argue life-threatening weariness that comes from toiling and pouring your soul into things that don't really matter. And so, with Jesus, this easy yoke, that's a mission, that's a purpose, a call to discipleship that demands your all and will summon forth your very best. It's the passion and zeal that you get when you know you are working or toiling or laboring to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. That reminder in our second reading, when we are animated by the Spirit, we live out of the Spirit that comes from heaven, that comes from God. We act in concert with the divine. We bring heaven to earth. And so, at the risk of quoting Belinda Carlisle, it's that captivating, energizing, intoxicating energy when we are working together to make heaven a place on earth. And I know there are times when we are afraid. I have been afraid before, and that yoke, that cross, can look so scary. But in this strange time, in this world in which we are living, we are probably just beginning to understand the miracle of living. Accept that yoke. Embrace the toil and labor of the Lord, for with God's grace, it will certainly feel easy and light. To those who recognize their need for a Savior, Jesus comes with comfort, lifting life's burdens and offering rest even for our lonely souls, inviting us into the life-giving, soul-enriching work of bringing about the kingdom of heaven on earth. Rest in the Lord. When you are burdened by your labors, take that yoke upon you. Together with God, we can labor to make heaven a place on earth.